Welcome to Soul Sync.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to Soul Sync. Our guest star, Boomy.
Hello, Boomy. Oh, big yawn, big yawn.
I pulled your mom.
Yeah, we're channeling Patty today.
Oh, yeah, we just miss her so much from our last episode. We had to do something in honor of her because she was such a good spirit.
Oh my gosh, which I'm sure all of you have already heard or seen in the YouTube. My lovely mother and her lovely energy.
Oh my gosh. I hope you guys laughed as hard as I did because I could not breathe. Like, no joke, Taylor. I was flying the next day, as you know. My stomach was sore. I got to Curaçao and I was like, am I getting abs? And like, we just laughed so hard. I swear. It was my affirmation of like, you laugh until you get abs, and Patty is good for that.
My God. First of all, I love that affirmation. Like, laugh until you get abs. The best way to do it. Yeah, no, we're coming at you today with a little bit more of the spiritual. I mean, don't get me wrong, there's always going to be laughs with this podcast. So just buckle in. But we're talking about the universe today, people. What
Mhm.
are we touching on, Sammy?
Oh my goodness, I'm so excited. So, we're going to be talking about this download that I got yesterday where I was walking along the pond and I had just seen so many signs. Like, there were two little ducks with two little ducklings, and I was like, oh, like my family's four, that's four. And I found a feather on my way home, I was just telling Taylor about. And I saw so many angel numbers yesterday. It was so insane. And I got this download, and it was like, the world is such a beautiful place when you see everything as a sign, right? Even the good, even the bad. I don't really believe in like good or bad. I try to see everything as just a lesson. But even your lowest of lows, like seeing everything as a sign and working to put the pieces together of what the lesson can be, it is so powerful. And we really want to talk to you guys about that today because that is something that's just helped me so much get through the past couple of months, which were very challenging in some ways. And I've just learned so much because of this perspective.
Oh my God, yes. Sometimes it's like the perfect reassurance
Mhm.
that you need to see, you need to feel, you need to be like, okay, I'm on the right path, I'm aligned. And these angel numbers and these feathers and like animals and songs, like these things will come up and there will be a specific reason behind each one. So it's kind of like even looking into the angel number part of it and being like, okay, what does 333 mean? And literally, it's always like exactly what's going on. And it's just that reassurance and just being like, yeah, this is from the universe. Like, here you go. Keep going. You're almost there. Like, stuff like that.
Oh my goodness. And it's so funny. So we should just go in and talk about the science now because I already want to talk about it.
Yeah.
But it's so funny Taylor said 333 and y'all got to know the context because it's fucking wild. Okay. So yesterday, this was like a huge month for my little family. On August 4th, it was Nala's Gotcha Day. And that was 3 years ago that Taylor and I got Nala, right? So there's the first three. Then we found out that Boomy's birthday was actually the same day I got Nala, August 4th, 2021, which means that he just turned 3. And it was Tom and I's 3rd-year anniversary, which is just so fucking wild. That was on the 6th. So it was like all of those celebrations literally in 2 days. And as you guys know, he's away for work. So I got myself flowers. Cause like what's the best thing that you can do is just celebrate yourself. So you already know I had a good time getting home from Curaçao. And I bought myself these lovely flowers. I should have showed them. I should have brought them over. But when I looked down at the flowers and I was like, getting them out, the number 3 3 was on there. And I was like, how fucking crazy. And I've just seen 333 basically everywhere since then. Like Taylor and I were doing our usual hot girl walk, as y'all know. And I came in and I turned off my walk, and it was 33 minutes that I was outside talking to her. Like, it's crazy. And then when we looked up what it meant, it resonated so hard. Like even Taylor's mouth dropped. So it's like this is just a really good example of like what is the universe showing you? What is it telling you? And for me, it was that message. And did it make my heart so warm? I felt so grateful.
No, I fucking love that so much. Sometimes when you specifically ask the universe for a sign and you get specific with it and you're like, okay, like universe, like I'm looking for a sign, like let me know. And you could be talking to your angels too and your spirit guides, and you're just kind of like, give me something. And I know you've seen this like in movies and stuff. I instantly thought of Bruce Almighty. I don't know if you saw that, where he,
Yes.
yeah, he's like God or whatever, and he's like, give me a sign. And then this giant truck, like filled with signs, like passes him, and he's like, okay, I need a better sign, or like some shit. And that's literally like what happens sometimes. Like it's literally just screaming out to you, and it's something that you can't even argue against. You're like, okay,
Mhm.
that's exactly what I asked for, and that's exactly what I got. So I remember I can think of like multiple stories in my life where I asked for a sign and I received exactly that. And that in itself is just such confirmation that the universe is always working for you. Like there's always stuff going on behind the scenes that we just don't see and don't know about. But it's that trusting factor of like, okay, how can I communicate with the universe? You know? So your intuition, for example, like I really feel like we get these certain downloads, and your intuition is just like your gut feeling just kicks in and it's like, yes, like that's it. That's the road to go with. That's the thing to say. That's the thing to do. Like, I don't know. It's some things are just way too perfectly aligned, and certain things will happen and fall in your lap and just be attracted to you the way that they're supposed to in such a magical way and timeline, and you cannot argue against it. So me and Sammy have had our fair share of moments like that. And that also fuels our relationship with the universe too.
Yo, I totally agree, you know? And I just think about like how beautiful of a perspective this can truly be, you know? And when you're looking these things up and you're putting the pieces together, it just not only is building like your faith within the universe, but also your faith within yourself because you're like, I can do the damn thing. Like I came home from Cudicao and I was like, I can have it all, you know? Like I really can have it all, everything that I want. And I truly feel that. And I felt that when I went there. Like we were doing a ton of shadow work and we were talking through things, and because I've been on so many of Michaela's retreats, I've really been working at this and working at my relationship with myself for the past like year and a half, like very in depth, right? And I went and I was just like, I still have things I'm working on, but looking at the first retreat I went on when I went to the DR to now, like even Michaela said, she was like, you're a completely different person. And I think about what was the number one thing I changed between then and now, and it was that I just listened to my intuition. And I do things when I feel called to, even if I don't want to, like turn left when I wanted to turn right, but then I go and I see a feather, right? Like I remember a couple episodes, I was like, you get rewarded when you listen to your intuition. You get rewarded when you see these signs. So if you're constantly seeing these signs, think about how peaceful that feels, because that's finally what I feel within myself, and it's been a really long time coming, but, like, that was my biggest takeaway from Cudicao is it was like, I can have it all, and the universe is always gonna show me the way.
My God, I love that. Holy shit. Yeah. So let's say real quick, like what the signs typically are. Like they can,
Mhm.
I genuinely believe they can be anything that you like specify and ask for. But the most common ones, like Sammy said, are feathers, finding a feather, animals, numbers, of course, songs, even like song lyrics sometimes, objects, and they say like book titles, and just like certain titles of things can be signs in itself. And it's amazing because like I can almost think of a time where all of these were signs for me, you know? So I don't know, it's just there's so many times that these things come up for you to be like, okay, universe, I see you. And then you kind of like build a little like faith around that, around just like sometimes you can't see things spiritually, and you can't, it's like can be harder to feel things, and like just having that physical form not there all the time can be discouraging sometimes, because if you're a very like statistical black and white thinker type of like, I'll see it when I believe, or I'll believe it when I see it type of person, like it can be a little bit harder for you to believe in some of these ideologies.
Mhm.
But this is really just the universe putting it right in your face and being like, okay, if you're looking for it, here it is. If you're
Yeah.
asking for it, here it is. And if it's not meant to be, like you'll also get signs of that too. So I'll tell a quick story of when I was on the beach recently with my mom, and we kind of had like an oh my God moment. And it happened with a feather and a song and a memory. She kind of got like a download at the same time. So it was like three signs just like at the same time, all in one. So it's kind of crazy. So her beloved cat Whiskey had passed away maybe like 2 years ago. I feel like it's been like a little
Yeah. Mhm.
and we were at the beach together, her and I, and we were laying out tanning, listening to music, and it was just like quiet. We were just like in our own little worlds, you know. And this very specific song came on that was my mom and Whiskey's like song together. Like she would always, I don't know, sing it to him or play it with
Aw.
him. Yeah, it was like their cute little thing. I can't remember what song it was, but I know it was like very near and dear to her heart. And I didn't know this. So obviously, like I'm just still chilling, doing my own thing. And randomly I like felt the need to like turn around and look at her. Like, I don't know, it was just like to check up on her, like we haven't been talking for a while or whatever, but I literally just like popped up and like turned around and like full on like looked at her and she was like, "Whoa, Taylor." And I was like, "What?" and then and then the music stopped. And then we were kind of like, "Whoa." And I was like, "What just happened?" And she was like, "Okay, so I was thinking about Whiskey, like this memory just like shot into my head about him. And I was just thinking about him. And then all of a sudden our song came on, which was like amazing. And I was like, yo, oh my gosh, that's such like a sign, like whatever. And she's like, and then like you turned a certain way or like shuffled a certain way, and a feather flew out of underneath you. Like I guess it was under my towel and literally like landed on her. Like this perfect like white little feather like landed on her. And she's like, and then as I'm freaking out about that, you just turn around and like look at me and like make direct eye contact, like with this all this happening. Like you had no idea the feather came out, like whatever. And she's like, and the music turned off like for no reason at all. And when we were talking, like we were talking it all through, and I was like, listen, like these are all such signs. Like, and they say loved ones that have passed away, like that's usually how they do it, or like memories and songs and just things that like remind you of them. And the feathers are huge. Feathers are angels, like for sure. Like I've heard that from so many spiritual people, shamans, gurus, like they are. And I don't know, it was the sequence of events that happened just like all at the same time and like so in her face. And she was just like, that was Whiskey. Like I know it was Whiskey. And like he's a cat, he's not a person, but it was still so undeniable. And the music cut on right after we were done having that conversation. So it was kind of like we were like, okay, so that happened so that we can talk this out and really be like, okay, like, what was that? That was Whiskey, that was whatever. And it was just such a surreal, like, 5 minutes, where everything was just whatever. And sometimes that's how it happens. And you're just like, wow, like the universe.
Oh my gosh, that is so insane. I would have been crying. I literally would have been like crying if I was your mom.
She was tearing up for sure.
Ah, that's just so powerful, you know? And I think about it, and it's like the more that you see these things, the more that they're gonna come up, you know? So I know your mom, and I know she's always looking at these things and like she can just feel it. So I think it's really interesting how like three different signs and things all happened within that same moment, you know? Like think about if you're paying attention just throughout the day, like you could see hundreds of angel numbers if you wanted to.
Like Sammy does.
That's very true. I don't know what it is. Like even when I was in Curacao, like I would just pick up my phone and it would be like 333 or 444 or something random where it's just like it's coming and you're not even looking for it. And I think that's where it's like the most magical.
Yes. Oh my God. And there's something about like when you feel aligned, like
Mhm.
I don't know about you, but well, definitely you probably feel this too. Like when you just feel like your day is very aligned and you feel very energetically like set and present and there, I feel like that's when all these angel numbers start flying at me. And I'm just like, okay, it makes sense. Like I'm very aligned and the universe is just telling me like you're aligned. Like good
Mhm.
job, keep going. So that's been a main one for me usually is like when those two match up.
100%. And the word I get from this is just ease, right? Like I remember I used to listen to Michaela's podcast and she would talk about that. Like even this weekend we were having a conversation and she was like, I want to take my energy from this to this. And a lot of what it had to do with was just ease and trust within whatever was happening. Like she was going to show up and just be calm, cool, and collected about it, right? And I think that's what the signs can give us is it's like for me, I've always seen it as like, huh, like you can trust. It is that reminder, it is that clarity. And it brings me back to that initial feeling, which I think is just something I've been striving for my whole life. Like I remember when I was like in middle school, I used to like draw peace signs, like I just wanted to feel at peace and just like very happy within myself. And it's 111 on my clock. I know. Fucking crazy. Fucking crazy. So you see how it comes up like randomly?
Yeah, sometimes I'm telling you.
It's so beautiful. Okay, so I want to talk a little bit about the animals. I feel like I know we already kind of did that with whiskey, but I've always associated animals, dragonflies, butterflies, as huge signs and they always come up for like pivotal moments of my life. So I think back to when I started really getting as many signs as I do now. And this was really back in like April when I was going through a pretty difficult time and I was learning a lot of lessons about myself, right? And how to be independent. And I remember a couple months later, Tom had left for camp and, he was going to work. So I had the whole summer for myself and I've never lived alone. And I was doing a lot of meditation specifically with Archangel Michael because he's the archangel for like protection, for divine just like clearing. I feel like he always is the one I call upon when I'm like, Archangel Michael, please clear my home when I'm saging or I'm doing, a little bit of a clearing within my space. And I was doing that a lot because I didn't feel safe, and this is probably the biggest lesson I had to learn from like this independent time period of where I was like, "Oh my God, I want to learn so much about myself." Well, it was the fact that like I want to be safe within myself and I want to know that I can take care of myself. And I went to the park. I was feeling really sad. I was just like missing Tom and in my feelings. I was crying and I felt called to like look to the side and there was this huge blue like crane, like one of those huge birds that always hang out by the water. And Archangel Michael's color is blue. And I remember my client Lana, she was talking about her experience with him and she was like, yeah, like he was so protective during that time that she used to see blue headlights, she would see blue cars, like he was always making his presence known. So I feel like angels will come to me in animals. Like for example, I was talking to Taylor this morning, honestly, just talking about all of the signs I saw the entire weekend. Like it was so insane. I could talk for hours if I mentioned them all. And a red robin literally flew across and landed like in the tree next to me. And my grandma always used to say, like, oh, that's our like family and our support system. And just during this time, I felt so supported by my grandma. Like I swear I can like hear her talking to me sometimes, So I really feel like the animals are just oh, they're so powerful. And I'm an animal lover. So I'm like, I could be Snow White if I wanted to. Like, come to me. I'll feed you.
Yo, you basically are Snow White if you think about it.
I see
Like,
them a lot. Even the dragonflies, like I was talking to Taylor today and there was one just like flying over my head the whole time. I sat on a rock and I was just like watching it, like just going back and forth. Like it was just flying, like staying in my vicinity and not going farther than like a couple of feet for like a solid 5 minutes. Like just tell me that's so crazy, right? Like tell me that's not a sign. You can't. I wouldn't believe you.
tell me it's not. You can't. Yeah, dragonflies are huge. Like Dragonflies and butterflies, I feel like are very big, like spiritual indications, which is like one of the reasons why I got my butterfly tattoo also was because my family would say the same thing, like, "Oh, that's grandpa," like, like that's someone visiting us. And the butterflies, I feel like, are very similar. They present themselves in like the most harmonious, perfect way that you're just like, "Oh my God." Like one will land on like the tombstone and you're just like looking at each other
Yes.
like, "That's grandpa."
Mhm.
So it's really amazing, like when you are tapped into this type of frequency almost, or just like you have these eyes for it and you're just like open and receptive to receive any of these signs. That's when they come flowing into your
Mhm.
life. And it's such an amazing feeling to see them and to receive them after asking. So maybe this video is a sign for someone else too.
Mhm.
Like you're seeing this or hearing this and you're like, damn, this is the sign I need to listen to all of our other videos.
Yeah, 100%. Or maybe it's just like you've been getting signs and you're like, oh, I don't know. Like, does this actually mean what I think it means? Or maybe you have a little bit of doubt and you're just like, oh, like, could I really be getting this thing that I want? Like, is this really what it's saying? And then you can continue to get more. That is all the clarity that you need. And the one thing that I've been thinking about is the more attention you give this, the more it's going to show you. Like Taylor had said about one of the things I'm manifesting, she goes, it's undeniable at this point. Like between all of the signs, it's just absolutely undeniable. And I feel that way too. And then we think about the energy of manifestation, and it's like certainty is that last thing that you really need, right? You're certain that it's already yours.
Yeah, and you'll just like automatically get that
Hmm.
once you start noticing all these things. And once you're just very sure about it, like, okay, like there's another 111, there's
Yep.
another 333. Like it's just like, what the fuck is going on? But you feel it. And then that's when your gut kicks in too. And it's like, yes, that's a sign from the universe. Take it as such.
I agree. I agree. So I feel like for your guys' homework, one thing that you could like practice is at the end of the night, you know how we have like our gratitude list. Like you can write out the signs that you saw throughout the day. Maybe you saw a bird that just like crazily flew past you and it was bright blue and you were like, "Oh wow, like I know I'm protected. Like that is my sign." Or maybe you find a dime on the floor when you're getting gas, like I did yesterday, and you're like, "Oh my God, money is raining in, like, it's just flowing to me so casually." Or maybe you're like Patty and you see a feather and you're like, wow, my angels are with me. I am supported. Like, see what resonates with you. And when you have your list, I want you to do some research and think about, like, what do these signs mean? Like, look up what that angel number is. For me, it was 333. I looked it up and I read through a couple of things. I found what my intuition told me. Like I read this one paragraph and I was like, that was what I needed to hear, you know? Or for the feather, maybe it's a black feather so that you know that you're protected right now. Or maybe it's a gray feather, which means that good things are coming in. Like look up the color, like look into these things because this is how the universe and angels and God and source like truly communicates with us. And I feel like the more we're listening, the faster these things that we're calling in are going to come in.
Yes. Oh my God. That's your homework, people. That's the best homework.
Fuck
Just make
yeah,
a
it's
note of it.
fun too. Like make it fun because it is fun.
Yes, like add a note on your phone and just
Mhm.
write all the signs that you saw for the day. And then like you can see the pattern, you could see the
100%.
connection. So it's just about like noticing it and
Mhm.
like making the intention to notice them more.
I agree. And it's 11:11, Taylor. Ah, make a wish.
Oh my God, we're ending this at 11:11. That's
Oh
wild.
my gosh. I wish this episode just sees and gets to as many people that can hear it and need it as possible.
Yeah, and I think it will too, because
I
this is their sign.
and so it is.
So it motherfucking is.
Boom, 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 boom.
Oh,
Okay.
I love it.
Well, on that note,
Where can they find you, Sammy?
y'all already know you can find me on all platforms under Sammy Roos, SAMIRUESS, and Instagram has that underscore.
Don't forget the underscore, people. Do not.
Never.
You will not get page without that underscore. You can find me at Taylor Babel on Instagram. And then our Soul Sync account, Soul Sync SB on Instagram, Spotify, YouTube, and our Ask Us doc is all going to be in the bio.
Yep.
So hit us up, people. Tell us what your signs have been.
Mm-hmm.
Tell us about the patterns, and we'll look into them together.
Fuck yeah. We are a team here. So definitely fill that shit out. We want to hear from you.
Yeah. So until next time, everyone, we love you guys.
We love you. Bye-bye. And Boomy says bye over here.
Yeah, that's so cute. I'm dying watching this.
He's such a dog cat.
A dog cat.
Well, bye.
Well, bye.